All right. It says we're live. If anybody is in here and you can hear me, let me know. We would do a 5x5, but I'm a contractor, so Shelly's like, do a 2x4. If y'all can hear me, do a 2x4 in the chat. Uh, it is, what is today? Heck, I don't even know what today is. Michael Hamilton is the first one in here. Good morning, Michael Hamilton. Today is Tuesday. It's the 1st of July. Guys, it's going to be a good July, I hope. Well, the main reason it's going to be a good July is because the festival is coming up the 18th and 1x5. So can you hear me or not, Michael? So hopefully you can hear me. It is going to rain here today. I'm looking out the window and I'm like, I checked the weather. It's like 60 or 70% chance of rain. So I'm not super excited about that today. So, all right, today is July 1st. We have got tonight, we've got Shelly and I are going to do a live. I think we're going to do it at 7 o'clock. Good morning, Mel. Dreary and muggy, Indiana. Yes, it. Like I said, it's going to rain here today. I'm not excited, but Shelly and I are going to be live tonight, probably like at 7 o'clock. We're going to do a live to do the drawing for the refuge class for everybody that bought tickets in the month of June. So be looking for it. I'm going to set it up. We're probably going to do it at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a quickie, probably 30 minutes. And then Wednesday night, we're going to be live. Wednesday night, we're going to be live with Midwest Preparedness and Self-Reliance Festival, talking about a few things and getting kicked off. And we'll probably talk about Midwest, how their festival went. And then we're going to talk about our festival and then talk about Self-Reliance Festival that's coming up in October down in Camden, Tennessee. So we also have, starting today, it's going to run from July 1st through July 7th. Tickets are on sale for 25% off. So if you want to get a ticket, do it between now and the 7th of July. They're 25% off. So go to the website. I don't know if there's a code or not for that. I don't know if Shelly set a code up. Let me see. Melanie, do you know if there's a code for that? Good morning, Filipino Nomad. How are you? It's good morning here. It's afternoon or nighttime for you, isn't it? Let me see. Yes. The promo code to get 25% off tickets is July 4th, spelled out. So, Melanie, if you want to put that in the chat, that would be amazing. So, but yeah, guys, we've got 25% off tickets running from the 1st of July to the 7th. So also while we're doing website stuff and everything, we've got Pure Bag water filters. I got those. I got those on the website the other night. We've got Pure Bag filters. We're a dealer for them. I've got a video that I did with that. Man, it does a pretty stinking good job of filtering that water. I got some nasty, scummy pond water from all the spring rains that are on one of the neighbors' farms. Went and scooped a bunch of it out and ran it through the filter, and man, it did a banging job on that. I was tickled to death, especially with all the crap that's in that water and how long it's been sitting there and how stagnant and stinky it is. Also, we've got Comfrey on the website. So all the Comfrey products are there. We've got Comfrey crayons and we got Comfrey root cuttings. They're in stock on the website. So go check that out and everything. Bill Warner, good morning. And Filipino Nomad, it's 9 o'clock there. All right. Hey, what we're going to talk about today, topic for the day. I asked Shelly last night before our live with William, and that's another thing. If you didn't catch the live with William Bond last night, go back and check it out. Give it a watch. It was a good time. We didn't go down too many rabbit holes last night. But I asked Shelly, I was like, hey, throw me a topic for tomorrow. And she was like, what you really need to do is talk about the silvopasture. Is talk about silvopasture and what you've done at your place. So we're going to talk about starting a silvopasture, getting it going, some stuff you need to do to get your silvopasture going if you've got a real wooded area at your place. So if you've got any questions, shoot those in the comments. We'll kind of cover those as it gets a little bit closer. So I've covered a bunch of the stuff. Yeah, we're going to do a live tonight to draw the winner. And then Wednesday, we'll be on with Spags and Nicole from Self-Reliance Festival. And then don't forget to get your tickets. Medical supplies. All our stuff is in stock. The only thing we're out of are red IFACs. We don't have any of those in right now. But guys, all your medical stuff is in and ready to ship out. And then today, since it's a short week, I'm taking Friday off. We are waiting for I'm waiting for countertops on this job. This granite company is really dragging its feet on getting these things done. And I didn't want to start any other jobs until we get these countertops in, because I hate bouncing back and forth and stuff like that. So my wife has been on me. She was like, I want the house repainted. So yesterday I started repainting the inside of the house. I ran trim for most of the day, painting doors, casing, windows, trim, baseboards, and all that. So I'm probably going to spend several hours today doing that again. Probably spend 5, 6, 7 hours painting that. We've got 2 coats to put on it. And then after the trim's done, I can start painting the walls and get that project behind me. So, and it's fun painting when she's working from the house. Lincoln is here since it's summer, and you get all these people to work around, and then you got the dogs running around. I'm like, this is not fun to paint with. So that's what I'm going to do after this, is paint for a while. And then I've got Michael Hamilton. Can you ferment comfrey? Now, what are you wanting to do with it? Ferment it to eat or ferment it to have your animals to eat? I would say you'd be able to ferment it, just depending on what you're going to do with it. You could probably, yes, silage. I don't see why you couldn't. I've seen, I know Eric Porterhouse and Teal would do grass clippings. When he cut his yard, he would save all the grass clippings and ferment those in pickle jugs or the pickle barrels. I saw him do a video on that. I don't see why you couldn't. I would probably start, since you're not going to have tons and tons of comfrey, I would probably do it in a 5-gallon bucket. And what you want to do is take that and put it in a 5-gallon bucket. And what you want to do is really just pound it and pack it down in there as much as you can to get as much oxygen out that you can. And then once you do that, put a top on it. Don't get the cheap lids like they've got at they sell 2 different types of lids at Home Depot and Lowe's. They got some of the real thin lids, and then they've got some of the nicer lids like what come on paint buckets that have the seal on them. I would get the ones that have the seal and pack that comfrey down in as tight as you can, and do that. Get as much air and as much space out, and then put the top on it and let it sit. But Bill says, from what he's seen so far, comfrey doesn't make good silage. It turns into stinky fertilizer. I don't know. That's something. That's something. I don't know. I'll ask William or Billy that next time I talk to them and see. Well, what I do with my comfrey, I take it and dry it out. We cut when Shelly and I harvested a bunch of comfrey when we were doing the roots and everything. I cut a bunch for her. She's making comfrey salve for the website right now. It ought to be ready around the festival. But I took everything, and what I usually do is just dry it out. So I took all the stuff we cut, I spread it out on the shop floor, and set it in front of one of my big fans and let it run for a few days until it was dry. And now what I'm going to do is bundle it up and almost make like hands of tobacco. and do it in big hands of tobacco. Take some twine and spin around on it and tie it up and make it just like a big hand of tobacco. And then I'll put it in the hay loft and do it that way. That's what I've always done. I've not fermented any of it. So, and something else that's cool. We had some Bressie chickens that I'd got that we hatched out. We hatched them out from Patty and Darren, Hacks for the Homesteader. They're in Kansas. The last time they came down, I was like, I want some eggs. So I got some eggs from Patty. We incubated those and hatched them out. And we had we had several Bressie, the American Bressie chickens. These things would not stay in the coop, nothing like that. So they were getting picked off and stuff like that. So we're down to 2 roosters and 1 hen. And I was like, just let them do whatever they want to. Eventually they'll probably get picked off. I'm tired of messing with these stinking things. I was like, they won't stay in the coop for nothing or anything. So the last hen had disappeared. I hadn't seen her for like 2 weeks. And my wife said something to me about it. And I was like, she's probably dead. And my wife was like, yeah, something probably got her. Excuse me. It's getting creepy today. So Sunday morning, my wife and littlest one had headed on out to church early. I left a few minutes later, and I was coming around the curve in the driveway, and I stopped. I saw something white out in one of the pastures. I stopped and started looking. It was that hen, and she's got 9 or 10 babies with her. So the reason she disappeared is she was sitting on her eggs and hatching some eggs out. So now we've got 9 to 10 new little Bressie chicks that I'm probably going to have to catch those jokers today, catch her and catch those jokers, put them in the coop and confine them a little bit. And hopefully we can keep these guys from going all over the place. So we've got more Bressies. So we went from 3 to 13 or so now. So I'm excited about that. And all right, a tale to a word. I don't know. I don't know. Don't let door-to-door salesmen come in your house and talk to you and try to sell you crap. So Friday afternoon, we went down to my parents' house, went swimming. My brother and his girlfriend were there. We decided to eat. My mom fixed tacos and fajitas and stuff like that. But my mother-in-law kept texting my wife. She's like, when you get home, call me. When you get home, give me a call or something. And so anyway, long story short, Friday, some door-to-door salesmen with Vivient is the name of the company. They sell security systems for houses. They go door to door doing this. Apparently these guys had come on Friday and talked to her. She just let them on in the house. 2 guys selling security systems door to door. She let them in the house. They hard sold her on a security system. And the funny thing is, it's like, yeah, we can get somebody over here within an hour to put your security system in. So didn't call me, didn't call my wife, anything like that. And I'd put a one of the Blink remotes on, or one of the Blink doorbells on the front of her house. I'd put Blink cameras all around the house to where it would pop up on her phone for if those went off, and she could see who was at the front door and all that stuff. So these guys took the Blink stuff down, put their own cameras up, and then put a new lock on the door that is one of the combination locks. I've got no problem with the combination locks. We've got them on my parents' house. Just, you don't have to have a key. You can punch in your code and go. But this new lock is also Wi-Fi. That's their Wi-Fi. It'll run off Wi-Fi so you can open your door with your phone. That, and then they put this screen up on the wall. And one of the things that really pissed me off, we had put brand new doors, brand new French doors on the front of her house. They drilled an extra hole in this door to put their new lock on. And so she calls and she was like, I got hard sold on this. She's like, this was a mistake. She was like, I shouldn't have this. And so I spent an hour to 2 hours yesterday calling this company, getting it canceled. And hopefully I will find out this morning what day they're going to come and take all their crap out. And I asked them, I'm like, who's going to fix the hole in the wall? Who's going to fix the front door and all that stuff? And they're like, well, we come in and patch stuff like that. And I told them explicitly, I said, if your patching is not up to my satisfaction, you will be getting a bill from me, because I just got done remodeling her house, and somebody's going to pay me to fix all this stuff if y'all can't do it satisfactory. And yes, Michael, that is their MO. Come get in the house, do a hard sell you everything, over promise, and under deliver is usually what they do. So it just really pisses me off when people take advantage of people like that. I was like, why didn't you call me? I would have taken care of this and told them to get the hell out of there. And my whole thing, especially with the security system, is if you're going to get a security system and let people come into your house and do this, get it from a reputable company. One of my friends, he does security systems. I would call him because I've known him for a long time. There's other companies in Bowling Green that will do security systems that have been around for a long time. So, and I'll tell you what surprised me. I called the contractor's licensing board and asked, I'm like, hey, is this company licensed in Warren County to be doing work? And she goes, yes, actually they're licensed. And I was like, well, that surprised me. I didn't figure they were licensed. I figured they swooped in, did this stuff under the radar and left. So that was another fun thing. So I forgot, when I get off of here, I'm going to have to call her and see if they've emailed her when they're planning on coming out and taking this equipment out. So, because I want to be there and see what they do. All right. Silvopasture. We're going to cover some silvopasture this morning. If you've got questions about silvopasture, throw them in there for me, and we can have a conversation on silvopasture. Excuse me. I've got drainage this morning. I don't know what it is. I am by no means an expert on silvopasture. I will tell you that from the get-go. Stuff I have learned about silvopasture has been stuff that I've read and stuff that I've done and experimented here, and it's worked. I'm not the authority on silvopasture. But what is silvopasture? If you don't know what it is, essentially, silvopasture is pasture with trees. So you can get tree and nut production along with forage production and animal production in it. So you're kind of winning on both fronts. So why would you want to do it? Like I said, you're going to get a tree harvest, food production, forage production, and then it's going to help with the soil and water conservation on your property. So you're going to get some of the advantages of it. You're going to get increased production. You're going to get shade for your animals, more soil for fertility, better water retention. And depending on what trees that you plant or already have in that system, you can get nuts, fruit, and stuff like that. And yes, William has a few videos on the silvopasture. I've done a few things on the silvopasture here. When I moved up to this property, it had not been, my parents had bought it, I think, almost 50 years ago. The neighbor had run his cows on it just a little bit, but essentially, when I came up here to start building this house, it was nothing but trees and trees that were spaced super close together that were just growing straight up, really didn't have any canopy to them because they were so close together. A bunch of the wild rose bush. I forgot that wild rose bush. I forgot the technical term for it. We call it wild rose bushes. Briars, weeds, nothing. Just, you couldn't walk through this stuff. So what we did, we got the shop built, the house built, the front yard and backyard and everything put in and all that. So then we started getting animals. We started getting the sheep. So little by little, I finally got perimeter fence around the back of the property where we could really start doing, yes, Bill, multi-floor rows. I forget that every time. Nathaniel Bowman, good morning. How are you this morning in Bowling Green? So we finally got enough pasture set up. I came in and cut a few of the trees here and there. and just let the animals, let the sheep run through there. So the sheep went in on that multiflora rose and just kept eating it back and eating it back and eating it back. And finally, most of the multiflora rose has died out and it's done. So then that way, once it died, I could go in there, with an axe and cut it out. Everything was fine. So I started a couple years ago. I really, really love the trees. And I was like, I really don't want to cut any of these trees. But the more that I started looking, it's like you've got to have some kind of enough sunlight to come in to grow some forage, because we weren't really growing anything. It was just kind of dirt. So I went in, started cutting more trees out. And you want it varies. Some people say 30% all the way up to 60% open canopy. I've probably got closer to the 30 to 40% in some spots. Some spots it's up, around 60%. So I went in there, started cutting trees down, and we had the stinking black locust trees. Why anybody would plant those things, yes, I know they're a nitrogen fixer. Billy loves planting those things, but I cut those jokers down and get rid of them. But the problem with the locust trees is they will spring up from their roots. Like if you go in there and just pull one up with your bobcat or your backhoe, if you leave any of the roots, they're going to spring runners up and stuff like that. So what I did on these locust trees, I would come cut those jokers about 3 foot tall so I could see them with the tractor and I wouldn't run over it or anything. If I was going to do disking or anything like that, or if I wanted to go in there and bush hog, I wouldn't run over that stump. But what I found, those locust trees will start acting like a bush. You've coppiced those trees. So they would start growing a bush and branches coming out. So I would let them do that, get the leaves on, get the leaves on, and then I would graze the sheep and the cows in there. They would come through and I would just hard graze them on those. They would come through there, eat all the leaves off those locust trees. And then eventually, after 4 or 5 times of doing that, these locust trees just gave up and they're like, screw it, I'm done. I can't reproduce. I can't keep growing. And they would eventually just die back naturally. So I didn't have to spray anything on those or anything like that. And they just naturally died from pressure from the sheep and the cows in there eating on those things. Just hammering them hard and doing that. And now eventually they just died. And then I started pushing the things over to where they're out of the way. And Melanie, we don't plant our black locust trees. They just pop up everywhere along with those darn mulberry trees. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, those black locusts they will pop up everywhere. And I've still got a couple that I'm trying to get rid of. And so we'll get rid of those pretty soon. All right. And then Bill, the beneficial spacing distance between trees is a 50-foot spacing. Yeah, they say some people, depending on the tree, you're looking 20 to 40 foot, somewhere around there. I did some of mine a little bit closer. So what we did on this, I started cutting some of the trees down to get the canopy more open. So what I started doing was rolling hay out on everything or bale grazing. Some of the bales that we were getting were small enough that I could unroll them by hand, and I've got videos of me doing that. But we would take these bales, start unrolling those things, let the animals eat the hay, let the animals eat the hay and eat that, pee and poop on it. And then we just go to the next section and just roll hay out. So we just kept doing that and doing that. Kept doing that and doing that. And it's amazing that spring you could go out there and look and you could see green tracks just running back and forth on that pasture. And you could tell exactly where you'd roll bales out. It was just nice and lush and green. Clover coming out, just all kinds of stuff. Fescue, all these different varieties of plants and forage. We're doing that. Yeah, hacks for the homesteader. You didn't have a tree problem, just a lack of sheep problem. Exactly. So we've got those jokers taken care of. Now, on the other part, on the other part that we did, it's right up beside the driveway. I came in with my stump bucket. I've got a stump bucket for my Bobcat. I came in, and essentially that stump bucket, you can go in there and uproot trees and pull those jokers out. So I pulled those jokers out, the trees that I didn't want. We piled them all up against one of the property lines to where the neighbor couldn't see over. But I did that, and then for 2 winters, I grazed in there and grazed hay. We would unroll hay on there, and then the bigger bales that we couldn't really unroll, and there were spots we couldn't roll real good, I would just, what they call is bale grazing. I would essentially set the round bale out there, and that round bale, it's only going to take up, like a 25 square foot space, if that. So once they get it done and the animals are eating on it, you've got, a 30-foot diameter ring or better of hay, that they've scattered out and everything. And once they've eaten everything they're going to eat, I would typically go out there with a pitchfork and spread some of it out just where it wasn't so thick. You can go, William told me, I asked him, I called William, it's like, hey, how deep can this hay be before it's not doing its thing? He's like, as long as it's under 3 feet, 3 feet or less deep of hay, it's going to be fine. I was like, well, none of it's 3 feet. I was like, but I want to spread this out. Some of it was over a foot. So we took that hay, spread it out. So we were making, we wound up, some of these were 75, 80-foot diameter circles of hay. We did that for two winters and did that. And I can tell you out there, we have got lush fescue. We've got fescue that is just horribly thick. I mean, some of the thickest, prettiest fescue out there. And then also some of the best clover. We've got clover. I have never seeded that pasture area with clover or anything, but we've got clover, we've got fescue, all different types of grasses in there, that it's just freaking amazing what we did on that. And all I did was thin the trees out and roll hay out. Greg Judy's a big guy on rolling hay. Greg rolls hay out all the time on his place, especially if he's got a new area where they come in and clear everything out. They'll take and roll hay out and then come in and graze the cows that way. And then you're getting carbon on top of the soil. That's going to help out a lot. You don't want to leave your soil just bare. Billy says nature's modest. It wants to be covered. It doesn't want to be just left bare. So get carbon on top of that soil, and that's going to help out a bunch. Good morning, Mike Shepard. Good morning, L2 Survive. And you'll have to excuse me. I've got drainage this morning, and I don't know what the deal is. I've not had any coffee yet. I need some coffee, I guess. So, all right. If you got, and with the silvopasture, you kind of need to define what you want out of that. Do you want meat? Do you want timber? Do you want firewood? Or do you want nuts and fruit? So that's going to be, define your goal. If all you want is meat, you're not super worried about the types of trees that are in there, as long as you don't have a bunch of junk trees and stuff like that. But typically you're going to want your hardwood trees. I like the juniper, or cedars as we call them, but technically they're juniper trees. I like those trees, so I still leave a few here and there, because I honestly think they make a good wind block and a good shelter for the sheep. Because I went outside before the sheep. I went outside. Typically in the wintertime, we'll bring the sheep back to where they can have access to the barn every night. Just in the wintertime, mostly. I went outside when there's been snow on the ground and it's snowing. The sheep are not in the barn. They are sitting out underneath some cedar trees. And I'm like, y'all have a perfectly dry, warm barn to come into, and y'all are sitting out underneath the cedar trees. So I'm like, I'm going to leave a few cedar trees out there. So, but if you're wanting more timber, you're going to want to take out your unproductive trees that are not going to be good for timber. You're going to want to keep your hardwood trees to where later on, when they get big enough, you can harvest those. But also, don't harvest all of them. You want to have, trees in succession to where you can take a few out and then have the other trees grow back in. So, and kind of the way, if you got existing, and I've made all kinds of notes here, so that's why I keep looking down at my notes. If you got existing woodland right now, you want to thin those trees. Typically, that you want to do like a 20 to a 40-foot spacing, somewhere around in there. A lot of guys will go smaller. Personally, I did smaller on mine. And you want like a 30 to 60% open canopy. So you want to take the crappy trees out, the invasive species, anything that's going to be invasive on that, you want to take those jokers out. And then any of the trees that are leaning real bad, anything that looks sick, you want to take those trees out. Just keep your nice, healthy trees is what you want. And what you've got to do is open up that canopy enough that you get sunlight to where your forage can grow. So that's what you're going to want to do. If it's overgrown and everything else, and you really can't get in there, pigs are the best thing to run in there. Get some pigs, let those pigs run in through there. They're going to take out that multiflora rose, any kind of briars, stuff like that. They're going to take it in to where then if you want to, and if you got to get in there by hand, you can get in there by hand and start clearing some of that stuff out. And really, honestly, if you wanted to, you could run your sheep or you can run your pigs in there for a little while and then run your sheep after that. And the sheep can come through and trim stuff that the pigs couldn't reach. So, yeah, Bill says Greg Judy swears by cedar trees for sheep cover and protection from severe weather. Yeah, I mean, and you always see that. I've seen it before. If you've got a big cedar cluster, the animals will go get in that and bed down when you've got severe weather. And that, too, with hunting, when it's super, super horrible bad weather and you're out deer hunting, when you're out deer hunting, all those deer go into the cedar thickets and bed down because, man, it just blocks the wind, rain, and everything else, and it's nice. I've been deer hunting before, and we had a stand in the middle of the cedar thicket. We had cleared out a bunch of stuff in the middle of the cedar thicket where you could see, but we had to stand back in the trees a little bit. It was absolutely freezing cold, raining, everything else like that, and everything like that. But I was setting up in this cedar thicket. Man, the wind was not hitting me, nothing like that. So, yes, cedar thickets are great for providing cover. All right. Let me see. L2 Survive. Are you creating paddocks for running different critters through? We've got what you can do, and I'll get to it, and we'll go ahead and cover it right now. The paddocks I've got on my property, I'm down to one pig right now. I don't know if I'm going to do pigs anymore or not, but I've just got one pig right now. I'm not going to let them run through any of the stuff right now. But what you can do, typically, if you're trying to clean some stuff up, you can run your pigs through there. And then after that, you can run your sheep or your cattle through there to graze some more and browse and do that. And do it that way, and then you can start cleaning up your stuff. But once you've got everything established, one of the nice things to do is to run your ruminant animals. Like if you got cattle or if you got sheep, you can run your sheep through the silvopasture, and then after that, you can run your chickens, pasture your chickens through there. Because what's going to happen, the chickens are going to help break the if there's any parasites, they're going to help break the parasite cycle up. They're going to go through, they're going to scratch around in the cow piles, the sheep poop and everything else, scatter it, work it into the soil, and they're also going to eat any kind of bugs and stuff like that are there. So they're going to take care of like the fly larvae and stuff like that. So they're really going to bring your parasite load down and your bug load down. So you can rotate through there because the chickens will clean all that stuff up. So if that, L2 Survive, if that answers your question, let me know. But the paddocks are for everybody. You're just going to run them through in a cycle. A lot of times we won't pasture the chickens. I don't really do that because it's such a pain in the butt to bring my chickens through these paddocks and everything. So typically we just rotate our sheep because I've got mainly sheep, and then I've got one cow and a calf, and that cow and calf are going to go live at Shelly's house pretty soon. After the festival, we got to build a small shelter for her. But after the festival, we're going to be down to pretty much just sheep. I'm going to get a few more sheep, but our sheep, we rotate those guys to different paddocks typically it depends on the size of the paddock, how long we'll leave them. Sometimes we'll leave them there a week and then we shift them over to the next paddock. So just depending on how fast the grass is growing, how much they're eating and stuff like that. So L2 Survive, if that answers your question, let me know. And then Bill says, I believe that my boar's finally done the job and we're expecting piglets by the end of October. That sounds awesome. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do on my pigs. I really like having pigs. I like raising pigs, and I like eating pigs too. So I'm trying to decide if we're going to get more pigs or not. But if we do, we are going to get coony coons and do it that way. So open pasture. If you've got just open pasture and you want to do some silvopasture stuff, one of the biggest things I like about the silvopasture is you've got shade for your animals. That's the biggest thing. You see all these animals out, and if you look at it, anytime you get a bunch of cows out, they are in the summertime, they are in the shade and they just burn that one little spot of shade up. They burn it down to nothing but dirt, and they can pack that area. That's where they hang out. When you go around the trees, there's nothing but poop and pee on there, and it's nothing but bare ground because you've got these open fields with one little spot of shade. With a silvopasture, you've got shade throughout the whole place. So what that's doing, all your animals are not congregating around one or two trees. They've got, 50 or 100 trees that they can go hang out at in the shade. They can go eat, get their bellies full, come back, chew their cud in the shade, and they're not hitting those same 2 or 3 trees on that pasture all the time. And so essentially you're spreading out your loads. You're not creating compaction in one area, and you're not just burning up the shade spots because you've got so many shade spots out there for the animals. So, but if you got open pasture, you want some faster growing trees. And if you're going to plant those, if you're doing new stuff, plant them, 20 to 40 foot apart, depending on your trees. And then as far as tree choices, what you're going to look for, if you're looking for timber, you're going to want walnut, oak, poplar. Your hardwoods is what you're going to want. If you're down farther south, I know they're planting a bunch of pine trees. That's pine tree country. You could plant some pine trees. Personally, I probably wouldn't. I would go more towards the hardwoods. And then as another option for trees, if you're wanting fodder trees, you can plant mulberry. They said honey locust. I wouldn't plant any locust if it was me. Or you could plant the hybrid willow. Those hybrid willows will grow super, super fast and provide you a lot of shade and a lot of fodder for your animals. You can go in and cut those jokers and make tree hay. If you want some income stuff, then you're looking income other than timber. You can look at some of your nut trees like your chestnuts, your persimmons, your pecan trees, stuff like that. So that's some of your tree choices. Well, here we didn't plant any trees. The only trees that we've planted at my place have been in the food forest, and those all have been fruit trees. I probably honestly need to plant some nut trees. I just did not plant any nut trees. I need to and probably should. Maybe this winter we will. So let me see. Bill says pigs especially need shade and water if the temperature is much above 70 degrees. I found that by soaking their feed, and they drink almost no water. Hey, that's pretty cool. I never thought about soaking a pig's feed. I never thought about doing that. And yeah, Michael, you got to have wallers for them to lay down in. Exactly. I don't know. I've never ran the pigs through any of the pasture. We've just got one spot that the pigs stay, and that's kind of what they do. Most of the time, we're not keeping the pigs around too long. Most of the time, they're in and out pretty quick and in the freezer. So that's what we've been doing as far as silvopasture. I've got one spot for the pigs, and I probably need to wind up letting it rest and grow up some. And then once it grows some stuff, we'll probably run the sheep in there and let them eat it down, and then maybe make another little paddock for the pigs. I'm bad about rotating the pigs just because these pigs were huge and they were a pain in the butt to rotate around. And I was finally growing some real good grass in some of these areas, and I was like, I really don't want to mess this grass up and do it that way. Right now, my most of the animals are out in, I call it the pond area. We've got an old pond that comes behind the house and over on the far corner of the property. So we got that, and they're out there, and man, we've got fescue and forage that's stinking knee high right now, and they're hitting it. We're gonna let them hit it for a few more days, and then we're gonna run them in the back pasture and let them eat that down a little bit, and then we'll pull them up in the next pasture up, let them eat it a little bit, and then we're gonna move them back over. I've got one paddock that they never hit on the neighbor's property, so we're going to let them hit it, and then by the time that goes, everything will start growing back, and we can just keep rotating, because we've got 7 to 8 paddocks that we can rotate everybody around in. And honestly, once I get rid of Ginger, that's going to free up, because essentially a cow is 4 to 5 sheep. So once I get rid of her, then we're not going to have as much problem with keeping grass and stuff like that, because the sheep don't eat near as much as a cow does. So once we get rid of her, I'm probably going to pick up another ewe or two and see how that goes, and see if we can balance it out and keep it nice to where we got an abundance of grass for those guys to graze on. Bill says, I have wallers for them. The nice thing about cooney coons is they're small enough. You can put kids' sandbox and fill it with water, and it lasts for several years. Awesome. And then Michael, we run Idaho pasture pigs. Yeah, I've looked into some of the Idaho pasture pigs, and I think I'm just going to do cooney coons and be done with it if we get back into pigs. And Michael says they do well in the winter. That's what I've heard, that they do pretty good. I've not had a problem. We just had, I forgot, it was a mix of breeds. It was a mix of like 3 or 4 breeds of pigs. I forgot what they were. And but they did fine in the wintertime. We've got them a little shed down there, and they had no problem when it was cold and stuff like that. And Bill, the IPPs are part cooney coon pigs, aren't they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly everything that they bred to make the cooney coons, but in the IPPs, they are the IPPs. I think had cooney coon and something else in them when they were done. I get confused about all the pig breeds. I don't know a ton about pig breeds and stuff like that, but I know we're probably going to wind up with cooney coons when we do it again. Shelly keeps saying she's going to get cooney coon pigs. And so if we do that, one of our other friends has cooney coons, so we're probably going to breed and do that to where we've always got different genetics and stuff like that if we need to. So, guys, if y'all got any other questions, real quick, drop them in the comments. I appreciate everybody being here. And don't forget, if you've not gotten your tickets, use the code. Use the code that's on. It's July 4th. And 4th is spelled out for the coupon code. That'll get you 25% off your tickets from July 1st through July 7th. And also, don't forget, we're doing the drawing tonight. Shelly and I will be doing a live probably at about 7 o'clock Central Time to draw the winner for the last spot in the refuge medical class. And we'll be live with that. And then Wednesday, we're going to be live with Midwest Preparedness and Self-Reliance Festival on Wednesday night. I don't know what time that is right now. I would say probably 7 o'clock Central. So, guys, I appreciate it a bunch. I'm going to go upstairs and start painting trim, one of my favorite things to do. But y'all have a good day, and I will see y'all tonight. And then also I will be back. We'll be back. We've got, let me see. We've got Mike Adkins. We've got him on Thursday. Mike is going to be doing the land navigation workshop. So we'll be live with him at 6:30 on Thursday. And then I'll be back here Friday morning for Clickbait and Coffee. And hopefully by Friday, my coffee will be in from our coffee sponsor, and I can show you that coffee. I'm excited about that. It shipped out yesterday, I think. So I should have it by Friday if everything goes as planned. So y'all have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you back here tonight, probably around 7 o'clock. I appreciate y'all, and have a good day. Thanks.